Welcome back to Intro to Database Systems. I can get destroyed in many ways. There are natural disaster, people deleting stuff by accident, cute creatures like squirrels, hackers, buggy code, construction workers, and more. Everything eventually dies unless it's backed up. Like humans, any device with me on it will die eventually. This is why you should never trust just one device. If the data is important, it needs to be backed up in some way, or better yet, multiple ways. You also need to test these backups often to make sure that they are still working. Many companies have servers in different locations in case something happens in one somewhere. This can be especially important for large companies. Any downtime on these places can cost millions or even billions. So always remember me. Companies have data in multiple places. This means if one rack has issues, they can just take it out and replace it. When someone has a query, they send it everywhere and take whichever sends it back first. Then the query is canceled. This is a very powerful setup and is especially good when you are searching for something.
These are probably not the truth tables you were used to from Logic and Sets. We added in unknown. Also, we changed half the symbols for unknown reasons.
Take a school DBMS as an example. There are lots of different people in lots of different roles. These people need to see different subsets of the data. The teacher needs to see students' grades, only pertaining to the class they are teaching. Students need to only see the data on themselves, and so on. Time to talk about constraints. You can put all kinds of constraints on the data that can be inserted into the database. For example, each course must have a unique name and must have a unique number ID such as CS405. We could go even further and say that the class ID must be 2 letters followed by 3 numbers. Each student has a unique ID and a unique login. The DBA sets up the system to send an error message if someone tries to give 2 different students the same login. In opposition to these constraints, there are things about each student that don't need to be unique. These would include class schedule and even name. Assertions are similar to constraints, but involve a larger chunk of data as opposed to a single entry. For example, every course must have a teacher and at least 1 student. A primary key is what you can define that set of data by. This key must be one of the unique identifiers. Take the student example. The student ID and the login are both superkeys, but you choose the ID because, well, you need to pick one. This could be a set of things as well. Your superkey could even be a list of every element in the set. Candidates are superkeys that only include one element. A RAID.
Yay, a RAID! Can it be a candy store?
RAID stands for Redundant Array of Independent Disks. It's cheaper to use many smaller devices than one large device. This also allows for more parallel processes. If you have the redundancy to mitigate a device failure of these many smaller devices, the reliability actually increases. In RAID, HDDs are paired with a dedicated hard disk controller. This is called a RAID controller. There are different ways to set up RAIDs, called levels. Different levels prioritize different things. There is speed, storage efficiency, and fault tolerance. Think of it like a video game where you must pick and choose where you want the experience points. A thing you can do is to have the little bits RAIDed and then RAID those together.
That sounds like a lot of raids to not get any candy.
NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. It's basically a server that just holds data. Say you want to show your friends a meme, but you're sitting in your living room and your computer is in your bedroom, and that's where you saved it. You obviously don't want to get up, and you must show your friend this meme. You could use an NAS. You could save all the memes to this dedicated storage device and access them whenever you needed them from any of your devices. NASs are often used by individuals and small companies. They are simple and cheap. However, there are multiple points where it can fail and result in downtime until you can fix the problems. SANs are like NASs, taken to the next level. These are primarily used by large companies. This is mostly because they are expensive. They can hold tons of data, are fast, and consist of multiple disk arrays, switches, and servers. If a component fails, the common user will likely not even be aware of it. These usually use fiber cable. They are not that secure, but are very fast. Time to talk about tape. Tape is actually still quite common. The University of Kentucky actually uses tape robots as part of its backup system.
I'm stuck. Can the robots get me out?
It's often used for backup since it's more reliable and harder to infiltrate. Tape is also relatively cheap. However, it does tend to be slower and can die just from being dropped. It's also useful to have some systems on an island. This helps with security. It's sort of like how an illness has trouble jumping between different species.
Now I'm lonely, and I'm still waiting on those robots.